Hello and welcome. Take a seat, get comfortable, grab a cup of tea, any tea of your choice. I'm having Earl Grey. I'm Bandy, your Ruth Sue Welfare Officer, and welcome to the series Let's Talk About Mental Health. I guess the aim of this series is to kind of really destigmatise mental health, get the conversation going, and just to give you a little bit of education. The first ever episode is going to be called Anxiety and Me, and I feel like I've got to really practice what I preach, and I think it would be useful for you to know about kind of my mental health struggles through university, how I've coped and how I've managed through it. I've kind of suffered from quite bad anxiety, but I've never been diagnosed professionally, so but I've been to the GP and I've had treatment, psychological treatment for it. So I just wanted to put that out there. I also want to put out there that I am not a trained psychologist or psychiatrist. All my opinions are my own, and if any evidence that I'm going to be talking about is through kind of accredited websites like the NHS and kind of journal papers. I did do psychology for 4 years and I'm really, really passionate about mental health. So I'm a little bit clued up, but I wouldn't say I'm a professional by any means. So let's get into it. So I guess we've got to first talk about what anxiety is. I'm sure majority of people know what it is. Everyone has mental health. Everyone knows what it feels like to feel anxious for an exam or for a date. But I guess when it becomes an issue is when it's persistent and it kind of takes over your everyday life and it kind of consumes you. So I've got my laptop here. I'm going to put my tea down. And so on the NHS website, it says what generalized anxiety disorder is. There's different types of anxiety disorder. There's social separation anxiety, but I guess I've suffered from general anxiety, so that's kind of what I'm going to be focusing on today. So the NHS website kind of separates the two, psychological symptoms and physical symptoms. So psychological symptoms, it says a sense of dread, feeling constantly on edge, irritability, restlessness, you just don't know what to do with yourself. I can completely agree with that. I've when I've had really anxious episodes, I wake up and I just feel in a sense of impending doom, everything's gonna go wrong that day. It's very weird. But I don't think the psychological symptoms are as known or as talked about as the psychological ones. So it says psychological symptoms is dizziness, tiredness, dry mouth, excessive sweating, stomach aches, feeling sick. I go through kind of waves of feeling quite nauseous and not being able to eat. I also it's too much information, but I always I have such a weak bladder, but it's not because of I have a weak bladder. I think it's my anxiety kind of affects my bladder in a sense I just need to pee all the time. But yeah, but I guess that's a very I'm gonna put my laptop down and get my tea. I guess that's a very medical way of describing what anxiety is, and I think for me, if I could describe it to someone who doesn't really get anxious that much, I'd say it's a voice in your head that always it tells you what's going to go wrong, what you have to worry about, and it's just this constant repetition. So before university, my anxiety was very environmentally based. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but I used to get really anxious about walking to the corner shop. I thought someone might hurt me or mug me. I used to live in London, so I used to take the tube into sixth form. And I don't know, if I saw anything on the news, I would literally feel if there was an acid attack in London, then that's the only thing I'd be thinking about on the tube. And like if a bombing would happen, if someone was gonna throw acid in my face, just very like, I know they were irrational thoughts, but that like for me that doesn't help. Like it's irrational, but I still feel like that. I still feel like I'm constantly in danger and I'm always looking for threat in a way. Like my mind is, that's how it's wired. And once I got into university, it definitely didn't go away, but I think it manifested in itself in like my work and like how I worked. And I'd be, you know, I would kind of like with assignments, I'd, you know, avoid doing the work for a long time, but then it's kind of this cyclical cycle. Like if I avoid it, then I get stressed about doing it last minute, and then that sends me into anxiety. And I remember like this one is like the first assignment that I ever got at university, and I just had no idea how to write an essay. I was just like in my like room for like 2 days straight trying to write this essay, but I couldn't because I was just frozen, and I was so scared of making a mistake or feeling like a failure. And yeah, and it is that whole like overthinking everything. And once I was out of my home in London at uni, my anxiety definitely like, it was really weird. Like I think I overthought less. For instance, like I would overthink, you know, on the bus, like if I had to walk out, I'd be really scared of like embarrassing myself and like falling over. So I'd have to like plan in my head like how I was going to get off the bus and like what threats there were, in a sense of like there was a bag on the floor, there was a woman standing in the way, and like I don't know. Yeah. And in second year, I think, oh wait, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have a sip of my tea because it's getting cold, and cold tea is like the worst kind of tea, but oh my god, that's so nice. But I think in second year it definitely got worse, but like the way I managed it was so bad. Like I think I just went out all the time, I drank. I didn't drink so much in first year because it would always give me really, really bad anxiety. So I drank a lot in second year, and I didn't really like going out that much in first year, but I think, I don't know, I felt pressured to like make friends and stuff, so I kind of buckled it and just drank a lot, and I smoked lots of cigarettes and I thought that was a really good way of managing my anxiety. And I guess for like in second year, I just, even though I was so interested in mental health and I was doing psychology, I just never labelled it as anxious. I just thought that's how everyone felt, like all the time. I thought everyone like me just overthought everything. And I went to the GP, I think at the end of first year, and I want to be honest, I didn't really have like a good experience with them. They said to me like, they're like, oh, it's not that bad, it's not like severe anxiety, so, you know, just run or like do Headspace app. And it's like, oh my god, I try. So yeah, so that's kind of how I coped with it and how I dealt with it, which isn't a very effective way of dealing with my emotions, but hey ho, that's second year. Third year, it like, I was so stressed because I was on placement and I found the whole thing more stressful, but I think that really elevated my stress levels. Like I was so much more anxious, and that whole anxiety of being around people kind of sat in, and I'm not like a, like I'm quite like an outgoing person, so it was very strange that I was very socially anxious. And it's kind of weird because I think a lot of people, like when they meet me, think I'm very confident and bubbly and chatty, so I think they assume that I'm like, how could I ever feel anxious because I'm so like confident. But yeah, it is like, I think everyone can suffer from mental health, so yeah, don't always read a book by its cover, basically. And then Yeah, and then I think that's, so my anxiety was just so bad in third year, and then in fourth year it just got even worse. Like I was in halls, but I was kind of very much like, I had like a very big isolated room in St. Pat's, and I was quite away from everyone. But I got really like fixated on my work and like doing well, and that whole like final year pressure of like, this counts so much towards your degree, and then you just really want a 2-1 or a first, really kind of started to set in. So, you know, definitely prioritised work, but I never had enough time, like chill time, and like enough time to like play down. And I guess what I found so hard about university in general was that lack of routine. And people were like, oh, just work 9 to 5, but like that's so hard. It's so like, and in final year you literally have far few between lectures than you did in first year and second year. And I'm definitely the type of person who likes routines, so I found that quite like, I don't know, quite hard. And so I didn't have a set routine, so I kind of overworked myself and kind of burnt myself out by December. And that's when kind of, I've always kind of suffered from panic attacks, but they've kind of ebbed and flowed with frequency, and they started to come back again quite bad. And having a panic attack is like, you feel like you are dying. And for me personally, it feels like all the oxygen has been sucked out of your system. No, sucked out in the environment, and you literally just can't breathe. So I think by January time, I was like, okay, I've got to like get a handle on this, because I can't, you know, have my final couple of months of university like this, stressed out. So, and also new exams were coming up, so I was like, I really don't want to feel like this during exam season. So I went to the GP. I was put on medication. I was very reluctant to go on medication. I was doing like more exercise, mindfulness, yoga, and like, you know, really starting to take care of myself and my mental health, and like really like giving myself the space and time to just breathe, relax, chill. But I'd still like wake up, you know, like my jaw like really tense, and I'd have really disrupted sleep. And yeah, it just like it was just like, it was really bad. I had really bad physical symptoms. And that's when I was like, okay, I really need to go to the GP about this. So I have medication, I'm still on it. I'm going to be off it around end of October, which I'm excited about. And like, medication is a whole different thing. And what's annoying about mental illness is that, you know, if you had the flu, I don't know, flu's not a very good example, but I don't know, if you had like an infection inside your body, then the doctor would know exactly what to give you. But with like mental health, we're just so not there yet. So they're gonna have, it is trial and error, which is so like mentally exhausting. But some people don't find the medication that works for them, but like my advice is to keep pushing. I was lucky enough to find the medication that worked for me. It was fluoxetine. I had the lowest dose, which was 20 milligrams. But yeah, like that, I mean, I guess I can speak about that in like a different video, how I found medication, because I don't have enough time. And then I started private therapy. I started working at Risu, and I was earning my own money, my own salary. So I thought of doing private therapy with like a trained psychotherapist that I do on Zoom, and I've really enjoyed that, and it's definitely helped to get my like emotions out. Like, she's definitely helped me to give me the best coping strategies and tools on how to like manage my anxiety. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I hope you've found that helpful, and if there's any topics that you really want me to cover, then feel free to like comment down below. Let me know if you want me to like talk about my like treatments and medication, and how specifically I found therapy and stuff. But yeah, but thank you for watching all this way. It's nearly 15 minutes, and I did say I waffle a bit too much, but yes, I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next episode. Bye.